Good morning. Did a noob said, "Let him sleep." I li- I like this guy. I like this guy. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I slept in a little bit. What's up, Veds Improvin? Minecraft Wolfie. Who else is here? Crow of Demise. Oh, you guys were here early. Sorry about that. I apologize. I Love Lamp was here, but now he's gone. Yeah. What's up, guys? How are you? Good morning. Well, I guess it's probably not morning for all of you guys. I just love the fact that Anu was sticking up for me. These are the kind of subscribers I would like to have in life. Okay, I'm gonna eat this orange, and then we're gonna try to write some code. Lo-fi music is good this morning. The lo-fi generator is generating. Good morning, Anu. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, I'm using the wrong browser. Excuse me. I'm supposed to be using the Zen browser. Oh, I got an itch. There we go. Quick swap. Quick swap. Music goes away. Music comes back. Okay. We have 2 more days before we become a Go stream. Which I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that is the plan. I'm gonna probably have to fight very hard to not go back to C#, but I'm gonna fight the good fight. Hey, what's up, Dismal? How are you? Good morning, man. Or good afternoon, or what? I can't remember when everyone's time zones are. It's 10 a.m. for you? Nice. Okay, yes. Morning then. Good morning indeed. Also, I think my microphone's turned down a little bit. Oh yeah, it's turned way down. Test, test. There we go. That's better. England. Nice. I would like to come to the UK someday. I'd like to visit the UK. Just disconnected already. What the fuck? All right, I'm gonna turn off tail scale. See if that helps at all. You see her? Hey, what's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. England. Famous building by the river. This one. Is this it? No, that's not it. Is it this guy? Yeah, this guy. The Palace of Westminster. There's like a bridge over here too, I think. Like off to the right. There's like a bridge or something. But yeah, I'd like to come. There's lots of things I'd like to see in the world. Will I ever get to see them before I die? I don't know. Guess it depends on how successful I am with the whole money thing. I guess we should probably pull up GitHub, because everyone always asks me, what are you building? So we should probably have this at the ready. Sorry, I didn't mean to burp into the microphone. It just happened. We have tea and biscuits. So if I came to England, Dismal, and I ordered coffee, would people give me weird looks? Or would they, like, is coffee acceptable there? You know what I mean? Just kind of curious. Because I'd really like them to accept me. accept me. Yeah, accept. I can't talk. Coffee is acceptable here? Okay, cool. As long as they don't throw me out of the country because I turned down their tea. I'm just not a big tea drinker, you know? Like, so Dismal, as an Englishman, or I'm guessing you're in England, but you didn't really say you're from England, but I'm making an assumption. What is like the proper type of tea? What's like the best kind of tea? What's the right way to prepare it? Maybe I just haven't had tea properly made, is why I don't care for it too much. Okay, I'm gonna say workflow. When it begins with question, it should prompt user for input, or I should say it should request input from user. That's what I should say. Green tea? Oh, I like green tea. I just said I don't like tea, but I don't drink hot green tea though currently. I drink like, you know, like your classic like Lipton green tea, right? The cold green tea. Masala tea is good. Okay, well, maybe one of these mornings it's gonna be tea code in chat. Let's see. You said green tea. Yeah, see, like this is normal tea, green tea, ginger tea is very famous in Pakistan. Nice. So this is like the kind of green tea I'm talking about drinking, is like the cold out of the masala tea plus sugar. Masala tea. Oh, that's interesting. That kind of looks like coffee. To be honest, it looks like creamed and sugared coffee. Masala chai is a popular beverage originating from India. It is made by adding aromatic herbs and spices to chai, which is made from brewing black tea in milk and water and adding sweetening with sugar. It looks good. Alright, I'll have to give it a go sometime. I appreciate all of your tea wisdom. I appreciate you giving me the tea on tea. Alright, back here. See if we can't speed run some of these tests, huh? So, let's see, workflow. When user answers question, it should route question to interviewer. I didn't work on this at all yesterday. My plan was to actually work on this in the evening, and then I basically spent my whole evening doing like work, like not the work that I do for fun, but like the work that I actually do as a day job. So that plan got derailed. What's up, Veds Improvin? Did you oversleep? Yes, I did. Although, here's the thing. I did oversleep, but I don't know why, but like my alarm didn't go off. Like my phone shows no evidence that the alarm that I have set actually fired. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing on certain nights that's causing that to happen. I know I sound like I sound like a teenager who's late to work or something. I swear, man, my alarm it didn't go off. But no, yeah. So I got an extra 30 minutes of sleep this morning, which was nice. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I double checked. My stuff's all configured correct, so we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I should start scheduling the stream for 5, and then if my alarm does go off and I do make it to the chair by 4:15, then I'm just early. I don't know. It's one of those things. Is your app usable for others? I'm interested in your project. Yeah, Noob, it is for sure. If you go to the description of the of this stream, I think you can get to the description of the stream. Like if you're watching the stream, you can just I think you can get to it. I don't think it's like prevents you from getting there. But the link to the repo is here, is there, and then the link to the repo is also. I'll copy it. The link to the repo is there, but the link to the repo is also here. So I'll copy this, and I'll put this in chat. At a noob. And I'm currently working on that. I'm not currently working on the master branch. I'm currently working on there's only one other branch here. But eventually I'll merge this to master, or merge this to main, and we'll be off and running. Hey Steven, I was going through the agent framework. It's in preview yet? Yes, it is in preview. So if you're going to use it, you got to be prepared that they may break you at some point right now, because they are iterating on it pretty rapidly. But that's kind of the thing you take on when you're using something that's in preview. Although I will say, like, you know, if you look at the overview and read through some of their documentation, they are largely taking their learnings from 2 existing production libraries, right? So it's not totally like they're figuring this out for the first time. It's more of this project is like refining and consolidating existing production code. So if I had to guess, they're probably not going to be too aggressive on breaking people. you know, because they want people to migrate from semantic kernel, right? And they want people to migrate from autogen. And so if people do the work to do that migration and then they turn around and break those people, like that won't look good. So I would imagine this is going to be fairly stable, but it is in preview. So kind of take it for what it's worth, you know. The vision is great. What agent? Yes, the vision's awesome. Yeah, the vision's awesome. The API is really good, especially if the .NET one. I haven't used the Python one, so I can't appreciate it as much. But the .NET API is really good, and I can always tell when there's going to be good code because if you look at the let me see if I can find the list of contributors here. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I don't like that song. I know Microsoft has something good going on whenever I see this guy's name in the repository. So this is Stephen Tobe. He's on the .NET team. He's crazy good C# developer. Crazy good software engineer. And so whenever I see his name on a repository, I know if he's involved, it's gonna be good. Looks like you got to program an alarm clock. Dude, if that was every software engineer's response to every problem they had, I'll just build it myself. You know, like that Thanos. Is it Thanos? Fine, I'll do it myself. I think that's Thanos, right? Wow, is Tim really live right now? No way he's live. Is he really live? Tim is one of my favorite streamers, but the fact that he's live at like 4:30 in the morning. Holy crap, that's crazy. Anywho, let's see, Thanos. I'll do it. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Will this get me copyrighted? I wonder. Yeah, I probably shouldn't play that. I probably shouldn't do that. But anyways, yeah, if every streamer thought like, or I mean, if every programmer thought like that, was just like, you know what? I'm gonna build my own car. I'm gonna build my own alarm clock. There are a lot of developers who seem to enjoy doing stuff like that. I'm not one of them though. Like the whole idea of like rewriting an HTTP server does not sound like fun. Hello, Gun. Good to see you this morning. A noob. No, I mean, are you going to host it or something? I don't want to clone and run it in local. No, my plan is not to. My plan at this moment is not to deploy it at the moment. It's just going to be a CLI tool. So, I will publish it on GitHub. So whenever I get it to a workable state, I will build and publish it. So you'll be able to download the compiled and built version from GitHub and run it if you'd like to. You'll just have to put in some app settings to make it work. But at this point, I don't plan on adding a GUI to it or anything like that. Hello, Mike. Good morning. I need an AI program for making coffee. Don't we all? I would love to have one of those. What's the name of the robots that Elon Musk is building that are like humanoid robots? Anybody know? Humanoid. Optimus. I'm pretty sure it's Optimus, right? Optimus? Optimus robots. Tesla. Yeah. I'd love to have one of these things in my house, and I come downstairs at 4:15 in the morning before the stream, and the robot just like hands me a cup of coffee. Or I could be on stream and I could be like, Optimus, coffee. We need the coffee. And then you guys would just see like a hand like come in from this side and hand me a new cup of coffee. I would totally buy a $20,000 robot for that. That would be an expensive cup of coffee. A noob, where do you get free music from? So the free music comes from a guy named Lo-Fi. His name's Dylan Turner. So this is the website that makes the music, which is pretty great. And then his website is at, if you want to go show him some love, because I really, really enjoy this thing he built. So his name is Dylan Turner. This is his website, and you can find him here at dylanturner.dev. I've never actually met the fella, never talked to him, but I always try to give him a shout out whenever we bring up Lo-Fi Generator, because it's a pretty cool thing he made. Neo Hominids will come out soon. I saw. Oh, so are you saying like Neo Hominids is like just like robots? Is that what you're saying? Because there was a company, Neo, I guess this week, who launched like a humanoid robot. Sell your house to buy that robot. Oh man, I wish I had a house to begin with. We just rent. Hello, Steven. You're hard to deceive. How can we drill? Oh my goodness. Chic Shrek. No, you don't want to be... You don't want to be doing that, man. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Bed's improv. And you put a cup in the coffee maker. Let the arm of the robot grab the cup, and then with a small rail system thingy, it moves your table after the coffee gets ready. Maybe that's good. Make a flying toaster. Bro, not a flying toaster. Program a flying toaster. No, we're not gonna do that. Oh yeah. Oh really? Okay, yeah. So I thought I saw a news article about that, Neo or something, but I wasn't 100% certain. Sorry, what did you say at the start? I was doing homework. It was pretty long. Nice. Doing your homework, man. I like it. You're responsible and disciplined. I was just saying that you were here at one point, and then I was late, and then I'm sure you moved on. That's all I was saying. Yeah, Chic Shrek's a little bit of a freak, man. Although, given your profile picture, I would expect nothing less. I mean, if robots are your jam, you know, I won't judge you if that's what does it for you. Program a machine to build the machine to make the flying toaster. Recursive toasting. Well, at some point we probably will have recursive toasting or some version of recursive machines, right? Because at some point we're gonna have robots that build the robots that build the robots that build the robots. How many layers will that go? That'd be like 3 calls, right? So you're gonna have the... So humans create the first version of robots, then robots will probably make the robots that will be in the factory making the robots. So it's like 3 levels of recursion, or 3 levels deep. What is Lo-Fi Generator? Website doesn't load. Oh, I probably typed it wrong. Sorry. This is why you shouldn't. This is why you should always copy and paste. The website is lo-fi generator.com. I just posted the link in the chat. Try that. That one should load for you. Sorry about that. All right, code time. That's weird. There we go. Okay. So that test is passing. So now what we need to do, so we've tested, oops, this is the wrong repo. We've tested this one. So we've tested this path. And we've tested this path. Whoops. So basically we've made sure that this goes to start. Then we made sure that if the user answers, if user answers, then it goes to reviewer. It starts at reviewer or user. So I think now what we need to do is we need to validate that the interviewer goes back to user start. Actually, we could probably amend this test to do that. So we could say var test. Let's see. We'll say interviewer agent response equals test data factory dot interview response dot generate, and then we're just going to want to make sure that in this case we want the interviewer to always say with needs more info equals true. And then I think this guy comes with text, so we can say JSON serializer dot serialize. Let's see, var interviewer agent response JSON equals JSON serializer dot serialize. Interviewer agent, like that. Yes, sir. Can you run the program on the current state? Just need to see what it does in current state. Oh, okay, yeah, I can run it. So basically, I won't run it all the way through, but I can run it so you can see what it does. It's very rudimentary. It's basically just a CLI tool that takes input from the console at the moment. I'm gonna call this chat message response. Var chat message response. Chat role is assistant. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to my terminal here. We will cd into Casper, and then we'll make sure we have, make sure we build this. Steven, what's happening? Busy coding and popped in to say hi, brother. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, even though you're busy, man. That's super nice of you. What's happening? Well, what's happening is it seems like chat has decided to talk about the games they like, which I kind of agree with some of their takes. Although Cyberpunk was fun to play for a little bit, it didn't hold my attention very long. Okay, you see here, so this is what happens when you run the app. So you say .NET run. And so the first thing that's going to happen is Casper is going to act like an interviewer. So Casper is basically just going to ask you questions until Casper feels like it can properly assess what it is you want to write about. So like why TypeScript, I don't know why this has become my demo example, but why TypeScript developers should try C#. So obviously it's making some API requests. So then it comes back and it says, who's the target audience? And so I have a very specific system prompt that's like tells Casper how it should analyze the answer and how it should figure out if it has the information it needs. And if it doesn't, then it keeps asking more follow-up questions. Once you get to the end of this whole chain of thought, right, this whole series of questions, and Casper has enough information, then we flow down the rest of the path, which is basically just it sitting in doing research and then writing and editing and so on and so forth. So it just flows through this diagram here. I plan to make this CLI experience much prettier. I plan to get rid of all these console logs, and probably what I'll do is I'll probably hook it up to OpenTelemetry. Is my plan. Oh goodness. Actually, let me get rid of the I'm gonna forget to get rid of the console logs. So let me go back up here. And I think I can do, what is it? Configure logging, I think is. Yeah, configure logging. .configure logging l.clear. There's a method that's like clear providers. That one. And that should prevent it from doing what it was doing. If I come back in here and I say, what would you like to write about? I'd like to write about, I don't know, why streaming helps you, why streaming is useful for developers, because you learn how to talk and write code at the same time. See, so like right here, I need some sort of like, I need like a progress icon or something that indicates that Casper's thinking. So like I need to make this whole like CLI experience more pleasing, more aesthetically pleasing. But we must write our tests, okay? We must write our tests and not continue to add features without tests. Man, chat's just completely lost the thread this morning. Free range socks. Do you use prettifying packages like Python's textual? I'm not familiar with Python's textual. I do. So in the .NET world, I'm guessing by prettifying you mean like formatters, I guess is what you're probably meaning. So in the .NET world, I use .NET format. So basically, .NET format will use whatever your editor config settings are, and it will format your code according to your editor config settings. So that's what I use when I'm working in .NET. When I'm working in TypeScript, I usually almost just use prettier. I've had people tell me I need to be using Biome? Biome? But I have not given that a try yet. So I've been using, I've still been using Prettier for almost every TypeScript project I work on. I usually reach for Prettier. Prettier to me is like, it's way simpler to work with than ESLint. Obviously, it's not necessarily as powerful as ESLint, but it does exactly what you need it to do. So I haven't really found it worthwhile to go and learn a whole new tool chain to do formatting and linting, but maybe I should. And then, so you said Python has something called textual. Is that what you said? Textual Python. I don't write a lot of Python, to be completely honest. I know how to write Python. I just don't write a lot of it. Textual is a rapid application development framework for Python. Oh, wow. So this is like a whole framework. So what do you mean by prettifying packages? Are you talking about like UIs, like GUIs? Is that what you mean? Oh, you were thinking about the prompts and you. Okay, so okay for that. Okay, I see where you're going. I took the whole prettifying adjective and ran with it like a dummy. So that's my bad, man. I should have waited for you to clarify. So for CLI experiences, I've historically for .NET I've used something called Spectre Console. And I think almost everybody uses Spectre Console in .NET. This is kind of the library for making your console look nice in .NET applications or .NET CLI applications. They provide a lot of out-of-the-box functionality, printing exceptions. You can do tables and charts, all kinds of cool stuff. Spinners, responsiveness. It supports a lot of cool functionality. For TypeScript, I really haven't written any CLIs in TypeScript. And I should be, for those who are watching, I should give you context. I primarily write C# in TypeScript most of the time, except for November. This coming November and December, we're gonna become a Go developer. We're gonna pretend to be a Go developer for a little bit. But I really haven't written many CLIs in TypeScript because if I'm gonna write a CLI, then I usually reach for C#, so there isn't a need to do it in TypeScript. But I've heard good things about a library called Commander in the JavaScript world, and then I've also heard good things about, although I don't know if this has Prettier. I don't know if this allows you to like customize the output. This might just be for like actually parsing the arguments and everything. What is it? Chalk is another one I've heard of in the JavaScript world. But I just haven't done much with CLIs in TypeScript. Except like small, like really small little scripts, nothing substantial. In Node/npm, we have a package NanoSpinner that we can add this type of loading on CLIs. Oh, NanoSpinner. NanoSpinner. The simplest and tiniest. Oh, it literally just does the one thing. It just spins, huh? Interesting. Yeah, does anybody here have experience with like TypeScript or JavaScript like CLIs that allow you to do things like Spectre Console? Like, I'm sure they're out there, but like I don't know what they are just because I've never done it. Like, are there things in TypeScript that will let you do stuff like this? I'm just gonna rely on your guys' knowledge. I'm not gonna trust Google or Gemini. I'm just gonna ask chat now. Prettier with ESLint is for me the sweet spot for mono repos. Yeah, that's typically what I've always used is Prettier with ESLint. Not really because like I think they're the best or anything, just because that seems to be the default for most of the JavaScript ecosystem. So it seems like you should know them, and then once you know them, it's like why not just use those? Mohammed, right? This is Mohammed, I think. Hi, Steven. Like your optimistic energy. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Oh, okay, thanks. I'm heavy in C and C sharp, but not .NET. Oh, so what do you use C sharp for? Free range? Are you using C sharp for Unity or something like that? You see your Commander, Inquire, and Yargs for TypeScript CLI. So, which one gives you the pretty output? Inquire, maybe? Inquire. This is one of the best parts of streaming, is because I get to talk to people who have used things that I haven't. Because there's... Oh, yeah, that's nice. This is exactly what I was talking about. Checkbox, nice. Okay, I'm starring this. Like I said, I don't really build many CLIs in TypeScript or JavaScript, but now I know how to. Oh, I'm looking forward to go. Yeah, go. So November 1st, we're only a couple days away. We're gonna have no net, not no nut, no net November. Although, um, to be fully honest, I probably will write C sharp off stream, but like during this time of the day, we're gonna buckle down and we're gonna practice Go so that when Advent of Code comes along, we can actually hold our own, or at least I can hold my own. 80 guys watching. Guys like the button. Let's aim for 50 likes. Hey, a noob, you're so nice. You guys don't have to like the stream if you don't want to. But I would appreciate it if you like the stream, if you like my viewer counter, my blinking viewer counter in my prompt. If you like that, you should like the stream. All right, hold on, Veds. I'm catching up on your messages, man. Let's see. I want to ask a question: whether I should always make projects focusing on, say, real-world applicability in the sense of making an API to help two things relate together, or trying to make a website or software for a specific niche problem. Michael, thanks for subscribing, man. Among other examples, as such. Languages, so as to not learn random coding languages for each project, but have the same, making my depth in those languages growing and growing. Or should I make small projects which are easier to do and can be shipped fast, in some sense of which lots of things I can make? So it's going to be one big project mixed with a lot of small projects. Mohammed, yeah, you have a good memory. Oh, God, I'm glad I remembered. I remembered because yesterday I couldn't read your Arabic name, and then I think you told me your name was Mohammed. So I do try to remember your guys. If you come to more than one stream, I do try to remember you guys, if I can. So if I don't remember, that's a me issue. That's a skill issue on my part. But I try to keep track of who's here. Let's see. Does quality of all projects being made is worth more if I solve various small problems at once? Then is that worth more? Woof. Veds, those were some long questions. Okay. So I think the gist of what you're asking is, should you make many small projects that are all disparate and unrelated, maybe even across many different programming languages, or should you spend time making one big project that is comprised of smaller projects, right? That all are contributing to this larger thing. And then also in that world, you're saying kind of hone in on a programming language. This is my advice, is it completely depends on the context of what you're trying to accomplish. So I think a lot of the times when we have these conversations on stream, there's kind of two camps of people. There's people who are how do I put this? There's people who are learning to code, or maybe this camp I'll say get job, right? So there's people who are here on stream and their primary reason for learning to code is to get a job. So that's one group of people. But there's also a group of people, and I would say I'm kind of in this group, love coding, right? So there's kind of, and these overlap. I'm not saying they don't overlap, but there's kind of these two camps of people. And so depending on what camp you're in at this given moment, it's kind of Ved's improv and it's kind of contextual to that. So I'm going to start with the first camp. So if Ved's improv and if your goal is to get a job, then my recommendation would be you should build projects that are relevant to the type of job you want to get, right? So if you're a web developer, you should be building websites. You should be building web apps, right? Don't be building mobile applications, because while building mobile applications does teach you things and you will learn things and you'll probably have a lot of fun, it doesn't translate to this, right? So I think when it comes to the first box, the get a job box, when you're thinking about what projects should I build, you should be thinking the projects that are going to help me get a job. What programming languages should I use? The ones that are going to help me get a job. If you're more in the love coding camp, then I think it's completely up to you. You should do what you want to do, right? So if you want to build APIs, build APIs. If you want to use Go today and C# tomorrow, do that, right? Because it's your time, it's your energy, it's the things you enjoy. So I don't think you should box yourself into something being right or wrong. It should just be about exploring your interests until you want to explore something else. I don't think you should put any pressure on yourself when it comes to this bottom box. Up top though, yeah, I would say build projects that solve problems that you understand and are excited to talk about, but ultimately you want to make sure that they're projects that communicate your skill and ability to your future employer. And then as far as like programming languages go, I'm sure you guys have heard this. I'm just going to steal it. But I think for most of us, we should aim to be a T-shaped person. So we should have a lot of depth in one area and then a little bit of depth in other areas, right? So in terms of programming languages, maybe the programming language that you're super deep at is JavaScript, but you know a little bit about C, right? Or you know a little bit about Go, right? But like I think from a programming language perspective, you should focus first on getting a lot of deep knowledge and ability in one place, and then you can sort of branch out and explore. Because it's actually kind of funny. Like you can actually be a really good developer in a language, and then you can switch languages, and just from the sheer fact that you don't know the language very well, you become like 10x less productive until you, like you're literally gonna see this happen on November 1st. Like I'm a semi-decent developer in C#, but when I switch to Go, it's like I'm gonna be a baby all over again. So I think you should have one language that you feel very confident that you can implement solutions in, and then you can explore other examples from there. So that's my take, Veds. Hopefully that was helpful. Hey, what's up, Stefan? Came here for my coffee, then gotta go. No worries, Stefan. Good to see you. Stefan is one of our illustrious members. We appreciate him. I actually was thinking last night that it would be cool. Deggins, good to see you. Good to have you. Thanks for subscribing. Joe Ao, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you. Let's see. I missed some of your comments. how are you setting up guardrails for Casper? Because security is a concern for agents. So Casper's guardrails are primarily in the system instructions. And as far as security concern for agents, it's not really a concern, Yasir. Or I guess, what would you think would be the security concern with Casper? Because all Casper does is it takes system prompts basically and makes a bunch of LLM calls in a sequential manner. That's largely what it does. The only agent that actually calls any tools or functions is the researcher, and that's just using Google search. So none of these agents actually interact with the file system or run arbitrary code or anything like that. This is mainly just an architectural pattern for grouping system instructions, right? You can think of I think I've talked about this before on stream, but you can think of agents as agents largely as a folder, right? That we organize a prompt and tools into and a specific model so that we can build systems that are more complex. Because if we could, it would be nice if we could just take all the instructions we ever wanted to give the LLM in the world and all the tools we ever wanted to give the LLM in the world and just put them in a single request to the LLM. That would be nice, right? Like, for example, a human being can fill all these roles, right? A human being can be an interviewer, a researcher, a writer, editor, a critic. They can be all these things, right? You don't have to have like a ghostwriter does all these things. A human ghostwriter does all these things. But an LLM, we have to like chunk it up into agents because the context window is only so big, and the agent gets confused the larger the system the larger the system prompt is, the larger the context window becomes, the more confused the LLM becomes, and then the more tools we give it, the worse it gets at deciding which tools to use. That's why this agent architecture, this agent pattern has become a thing. It's largely architectural in nature. $30 minutes for the gym, nice. Stefan, gonna get that pump in. Zedlight, hey, I'm new here. What is your main programming language? I mostly write C# and TypeScript. Zedlight, mostly C# and TypeScript. Now we are next. I will say, if you come back in November, so starting November 1st, we're gonna be learning Go. That's what we're gonna be doing. Oh, Ved's already answered those questions. Thank you, Ved. Stefan, I was the one to introduce him to Go. Yeah, I think it was Stefan. There was a couple people early on when I was first started to stream. They were like, you should try this. Which was the whole reason why at some point on stream I said, I'm going to do Advent of Code in Go. And here we are now. What is the name of the tool you are using to draw your nice ideas? Well, I don't know if they're nice ideas, but this is another tool that I highly recommend, just like Lo-Fi Generator. It's called a Scaladraw, and it's free. It's completely free to use. They have a paid tier that's pretty nice, that has some advanced features, like you can build presentations in it and all kinds of crazy stuff. And Scaladraw is actually open source, so you can actually go and get the repo, and I think you can even run it locally on a self-hosted setup. If I am remembering correctly, Scaladraw self-hosted. Yeah, so you can run this in Docker if you'd like to. I just use the free version that's hosted, their hosted version of it. Yeah, if you wanted to run it locally, you could. It's a really nice tool. It's become a go-to for me. Like, I use it all the time at work, whenever, because I have a really hard time like being able to talk without like having visual prompts or visual aids. But if you're working remotely with people, that's more difficult to do. So this tool has been um, a really big game changer. I also sometimes will use Zoom It. So like Zoom It has a whiteboard functionality to it too, where you can say Control 2 and then K, and it'll make your whole screen black, so you can sort of have like a what's that streamer's name? Pirate Software, right? You can sort of have like a pirate software experience. Is that how you spell software? Although my handwriting is not as good, so I'd probably just use text. But you can also like draw boxes here and arrows, and I think you can do ellipses. These are lines. I forget how to do ellipses. Is it? No. Anyways, Excalidraw is what I recommend, and then Zoom It's also pretty good. So if you're not familiar with Zoom It, it's a Windows utility that allows you to do like drawing on your screen. You can do live zooming. You can do screen recording, screen captures. It's got a crazy set of functionality. All right, Moise, I think is how you say your username, Moise. Hey, I need honest advice. I'm really struggling to push forward in my career. Yeah, Ved's context is always helpful. What Ved said. If you guys have questions for me, like career wise or life wise, I try not to opine too much, just because everyone's life is unique and different. And Teo, thanks for subscribing. And so I don't want to make assumptions. Omsix Nax, thank you both for subscribing. Appreciate you guys. So yeah, context is always helpful. All right, let's see. And most of the time, I'll be honest with you, I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2, so most of the time when you guys ask me questions like this, I basically try to pretend like it's my son in the same situation coming and asking me this. So my advice may not always be super helpful, but I'll do the best I can. So you said, I did my master's in artificial intelligence. Well, the world should be your oyster at this point then, man. I really want to pursue AI engineering as my career, so much so I want to do a PhD in it. I couldn't find a job for a year. You couldn't find a job with a master's in AI right now? That's crazy. But I didn't want to gather moss, so I joined a very small startup company. And since 1 year, I worked on a LangChain agentic chatbot. Nice, very cool. Struggled to find clients. That's tough, man. Startup life. Now I'm slowly being pushed into web dev by the company. I don't want to go back to looking for a job and having no income, so I can't leave. I'm just struggling. Yeah, okay. Well, if my son was to tell me that he had a job, but it wasn't exactly what he wanted to do, and it was becoming less of what he wanted to do, what I would tell him is, you need to keep the job you have. That's what I would tell him. I'd say, look, life is shitty. We all have to make a paycheck, and sometimes jobs aren't fun. I worked a job for 6 or 7 years, the first 6 or 7 years of my corporate career, that I wasn't all that excited about, but it provided health insurance and an income, and it took care of me and my family. You better believe, though, for the entire 6 years that I was at that company, I was actively working to try to find the next thing. So I think, Moise, I think you're in a really good spot where it sounds like you have an exceptional academic background. It sounds like you have a wealth of professional experience now. And so what I would encourage you to do is to keep going to the job you're currently working at, do the best you can there, do it to your best. Anything they ask you to do it to the best of your ability. Keep earning an income. And all the while in your free time, look for the next step. What's the next job? And the minute you find it, go. So, Does that mean that you're going to be spending a little bit more time in your free time doing the job searching again? Yes. But what's the alternative, right? The alternative is what? You're just frustrated all the time. So that would be my advice: is keep the job you have and actively begin looking for the job you want. Glad I found this channel heading to work. Well, I'm glad you found it too, Free Range Socks. Have a good day at work, man. I hope it's a great day. All right. So if this goes to... Huh. I got a really weird... Almost like... I had to smell myself because I got like this weird like deodorant smell all of a sudden. That was strange. Don't worry, I'm not having a stroke. Teosh, thanks for the shout out. Came across this while coding. Nice. Well, that's what I'm trying to do too, man. So we can hang out and code together if you want. Teo, I moved from QA into development this week. Well, congratulations, man. It's always exciting when you can move your job or your career in the direction you want it to go. It feels good. It feels good to make progress in life, I tell you what. Doesn't matter if it's money-wise, career-wise, fitness and health-wise. Making progress feels so good. Is that my Discord? Oh, yeah, I don't have Do Not Disturb on. Stefan, I'll take a look at your message after stream. It looks cool though. Movies. I'm very confident in Rust. I love the language more than I love Python. I made my first Hacktoberfest contribution too. Oh, awesome. Very cool, man. Yeah, I think if you know Python, if you know Rust, obviously you're a skilled developer. I think you just kind of have to suck it up at the job that you're at now, which unfortunately is the way life is, and then try to look to find a job, that uses the tech stack. I mean, you're in the perfect position because whenever you're job searching for a job, you have all the leverage. You have all the leverage when you already have a job, right? So like the best time to get a job is when you already have a job, because you can. So what you'll be able to do, Moise, is you'll be able to go into all these companies and while you're interviewing, and you'll be able to be selective and choosy because you have the leverage. You already have work. You don't need their job. You already have a job. So when you go in, you can make sure it's exactly what you want, right? You can make sure they're using the languages that you like, that the projects that they're working on that are the projects you want to work on. You can make sure that the people are nice, right? And I know that's always hard. It's kind of a crapshoot because you're trying to make a decision on like an hour of talking to people. But what I'm trying to communicate is when you're looking for a job, when you already have a job, you hold all the leverage in the conversation. You can walk away from the table. And in a negotiation, it's always the person who's willing to walk away that has the best chance at getting what they want. Hans the Dude. Nice username, man. That's awesome. Stefan, I'm sending DMs. No worries. Yeah, happy to look at your DM. Just I'll do it after stream. Which everybody, if you're new here, there's no pressure to do this, but if you do want to join our Discord, we do have a Discord. It's at discord.stevenfreeborn.com, and I'll drop that link in the chat if you want to join. The link will just take you to our invite link, so it's just a vanity URL. It'll just redirect you. Louise, thanks so much, Stephen. Yeah, of course, man. I went through this just this year, honestly, with the job, and I've been through this now. Let's see, I've made four job changes in my corporate career, you know. But I've done a lot of job looking while I had a job, and I've done a lot of job looking while I had a job, and I've done a lot of job looking when I didn't have a job. And I'll tell you what, it's way better to be job hunting when you've got one. It sucks to be in a position where you're super desperate for the job because of financial reasons or insurance reasons, and you just kind of have to take whatever you can get. That's an awful place to be at. So I think you're in a wonderful, advantageous position, especially when you factor in the fact that you have a master's in AI. You you're gonna be good. Someone out there is gonna put you to work for sure. I'm now planning to get a ML associate certification in AWS. I really hope I find a job. I'm trying my best to grow and improve my CV. Yeah, I think Moise. I think your CV. I mean, chat. What do you think? Moaz has a master's in AI. I think his CV is good enough. He also has been working as a dev for a little while. It sounds like maybe a year or more. So like, I think your CV's fine, Moaz. I think you should just you need to apply for jobs. Like get out there, apply for jobs, and then the other thing I would be doing is I would work far less on your CV and far more on your network. Like find other people who are working at companies you want to work for and try to strike up conversation. Try to find other people who maybe like go back to your college or wherever you did your masters. Try to dig up some contact information for the folks that were in your program with you. See if you can't reconnect with them. I'm sure they've landed gigs at other jobs and companies. So I would hustle less on your CV because it sounds like you have all the credentials you need, and I would hustle far more on networking. Like here's an example, Moise. I know I'm supposed to be writing code, but there's been a lot of questions this morning. Here's an example. So my um, love you, Steven. You don't have no clue how much you have calmed my anxiety. Yeah, you're gonna crush it, man. Don't be anxious. You've got the CV's there, man. You gotta figure out how to get in front of the right people. And so I'm gonna share an anecdote of this. So where I live, Garmin, the watchmaker, is headquartered here, and so I know, based on where we live, I know that there are lots of people who live around me and also who have kids that go to the same place my kids go to school. And so one of my strategies since we moved up here is I've been actively trying to suss out in my kids' friend group whose parents work for Garmin, right? Because this is a strategic career decision, because Garmin is a huge employer and a huge tech company. So if I can start to establish personal connections with people who have employment there and strike up a relationship and have them get to know me, then maybe in the future, if I ever need to apply for a job at Garmin, I'll have somebody who might be able to co-sign. Yeah, see, yeah, you like that, Moise? Yeah, exactly. So these are the things from a professional standpoint. Your personal network, your professional network, it is going to be an asset, and so you should think about it, and you should try to be strategic with it, and you should put effort towards it. Like go to meetups, ask people where they work, ask people what they do, talk about what you do, talk about where you work, and keep those connections, like keep them relevant. Ask them to go to coffee, like stay up with them, because at some point you're probably going to need them. So that's, I think, like I've gone to here in Kansas City, I've been to the .NET user group, I've been to the JavaScript user group, I've been to the DevOps user group that exists here in KC, and I've met lots of people who work for a bunch of different companies. And are we best friends? No, but I'm connected with them on LinkedIn. We've had one or two conversations. So again, it's like those loose connections are ultimately what's going to help you later on down the road, right? When you are looking for a job, you can start to put out feelers. Hey, remember me? I met you at that place that one time, right? So that to me is where you should expend your energy. Hans the Dude. Hey, Steven, found you through shorts recently. Great stuff. Amazing vibe. Well, thanks, Hans the Dude. I love your vibe. I love your username. So glad you're here, man. Glad you're here. Bye, Stefan. Have a good day, man. All I am missing now is kids. That can be arranged. Okay, that was an anecdote. You should not take away from that Steven's advice is have kids so you can network with your kids' friends' parents. Bad strategy. I just mean look for opportunities, right? You know what I mean. I know you're joking, but look for opportunities in your life where you can potentially establish connections with people who, when you're looking for a job, might be able to help you. Like your network is super, super important. Who knows you and what they know about you is going to determine far more of your career than any skill you acquire or CV you have. And I would guess 95% of people will probably share an anecdote of an opportunity they got because they knew someone. Granted, you still have to be able to show up and show out and do the work, but to get the opportunity, who you know and what they know about you is incredibly, incredibly important. Hans, I recently spent 6 months finding a new SDE role, which I started back in June, but now I've completed a master's in AI and got reached out to do an AI SDE role straight after. Any tips? I don't have any tips because I've never done any of those things, but I'm super happy for you. I think that's wonderful, and I hope you kill it in your new job, man. If you decide to take the role, I hope you kill it. Oh, you got the offer? Yeah, man. I don't think you're moving fast. Yeah, if it's more money and in the area of interest you want to work in, I say go for it. Trust your instincts, right? If there's something you feel is off about the company or shady, right? Or maybe you don't think they're financially viable, those are all valid reasons to skip the offer. But if it's for a good company and the position's what you want to do and the money's good and the benefits are great, it's all upside. My dog. Opie. My dog just randomly came. He doesn't normally come down here in the morning, so I don't know what he's doing. What are we doing here? Sorry, I've been so distracted by all the questions. I haven't made any progress on this. So what am I looking for here? I think what I'm looking for is I'm looking to make sure that there's a follow-up question. Yeah. So I'm looking to make sure that the run status is actually pending. And then I'm looking to make sure that run dot new events dot should dot contain an event, and that event dot is a request info event. So basically what I'm testing here is I'm making sure that when we start the workflow and we give a question, and then the interviewer decides, so basically what's going to happen is we're going to start the workflow, we're going to give it this question. Immediately, we're then going to send the user, or send the workflow a response from said user, and then we should call the agent. And if the agent decides that it needs more info, so we're mocking out the response from the agent in this case, but if our mocked response says we need more info, then we should have a follow-up question, right? So that, because the interviewer should keep asking questions until need more info is done with. So let's go ahead and try this. Yeah, cool. That's what we want. So we're basically, what we're validating is we're validating this piece of the loop, right? We're basically validating that all this works. And so now what we want to validate is we want to validate that whenever the interviewer doesn't need more info, we want to validate that it sends to the researcher. So we're going to do this one now. That's what we want to validate next. That's basically what I'm writing tests for, is I want to write tests to validate that all the conditional logic in here makes sense. And then I also need to validate like that this has like doesn't have an infinite loop, that there's some way we can set a number of turn limits, basically, like, right? We don't want to just continually go in like a writer critic loop forever. Thanks, Steven. It defo looks good. Benefits are amazing. Always hard leaving a good team of people. Yeah, and that, I mean, that's very true, man. People make or break jobs. You can have the worst job in the world, but a wonderful team, and the job's tolerable. You can also have the best job in the world, and the people are shitty, and you want nothing but to get the hell out of there. So I totally agree. Leaving a good group of teammates is always rough. Hans the Dude, what are you making here, by the way? So, Hans the Dude, I know you're new here. There's probably some other folks that are here that I need to probably give the context. But Microsoft released this new framework 2 or 3 weeks ago called the Agent Framework. It's basically like, if you're familiar with like LangChain, which I'm guessing you are because you did a master's in AI. If you're familiar with like LangChain, the Agent Framework is essentially Microsoft's attempt to help provide a library like that to make developing with LLMs easier, right? To integrate LLM functionality into your application much easier. And it builds on 2 existing libraries that are already out that Microsoft produces called Semantic Kernel and Autogen, and sort of takes the learning from each of those libraries and puts them together. And I wanted to learn how to use this. So we came up with this idea for Casper. Moise, thanks for the super chat, man. That's way too kind. Appreciate you. Way too kind, man. So we came up with this idea for Casper, and what Casper is basically using that agent framework to wire together a series of what are basically LLM requests. We're basically making a series of requests to an LLM with some conditional logic in there. And the idea here is to recreate the same experience that I would get or to try to approximate the same experience I would get if I was to hire a ghostwriter, hence the name Casper. So the idea is I can give it, maybe 3 or 4 sentences, like, hey, I want to write a blog about XYZ. And then Casper can help kind of flush that out to sort of a rough draft, right? Basically take care of that like 0 to 1 problem, the blank page problem. And then I can take over from there as the human being, because I don't believe in AI slop generation. I want to use generative AI to help make content creation a little bit more convenient, right? A little bit easier for me as a one-man band. So that's what we're building. And it's been fun. It was perfectly on theme for October and the month of Halloween, and it's been a blast. I've learned a lot. I feel like I have a really good grasp on the agent framework, which was the main goal of the project. So it's a success. Whether or not I get this into like the most polished state, we'll see. But it's been a good project. Right, and right now what we're doing is we're trying to we kind of hit a stretch of development where I just kind of like added a bunch of production code and didn't really write any tests, and so now I'm trying to actively go back and add test coverage. So no, I did not practice test-driven development, so please forgive me. Let's see, workflow, what do we call it? So we'll say workflow, I don't know, what do we want to call this? I guess we'll call it workflow. When interviewer has enough info, it should pass topic brief to researcher. Hans the Dude. Sounds like a cool project. Never heard of LangChain before. UK based. Don't know if that's why. Mostly dealt with LM Studio for local usage through my masters. Oh, okay. So I've heard of LM Studio. I think that uses I think that uses Llama CP under the hood is what they use. But LangChain is basically a Python and a TypeScript library made by a company. It's really a tool chain now, almost a platform in a lot of ways. But the heart of it is it's a set of APIs, a set of libraries that allow you to integrate AI into your Python or TypeScript applications really succinctly, really easily. But I've heard of LM Studio. I'm pretty sure it uses Llama. I think it's built with Llama CP. Oh, I use Llama locally myself. I've never actually used LM Studio. Let's see if Gemini knows. Does LM Studio use whoops. Does LM Studio use Llama CP? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's see, take that out of there. Go back over here. Even as someone who was originally a tester, I had to do the same. Yeah. Well, whenever I'm in the middle of building something new, I always forget to kind of stop, like reassess and be like, okay, I'm done exploring. Now I'm actually implementing solutions. So I need to sit down and write the tests. And I always regret doing that. I always regret not writing the tests first, because then it feels so much like writing tests. If you do it before you write the implementation, doesn't feel like a chore. But if you write the implementation and it works, then it feels like a chore to go back and have to add the tests. So this is why at some point in your process, you should try to stop, make sure you have your tests set up, make sure you have your test project set up and your framework set up, and start writing tests. It's hard sometimes when you're in the flow and you're having a lot of fun and the lines are flowing. That lines are flowing, that could be misinterpreted. Don't worry, RE test driven. Personally, I'm more of the AI can write my test kind of dev. Well, the AIs do a really. So I'll say the AIs do a good job writing tests, especially if you have tests that you've already written, right? So like if I turned on Copilot right now, I'm guessing Copilot could get like 90% of the way there on this next test based on the context up above, which is, yeah, man, definitely. If you want to use AI to write tests, I have no issue with that. I don't really have any issue with anybody's use of AI. I do have issue when people come to me and they say, "Oh man, you're screwed. AI is going to take all the jobs." That I kind of have issue with. But if people want to use AI in their development, I'm totally okay with that. It doesn't bother me at all. pretty much just copy this. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to say this needs more info. We're going to say is false, right? So basically at that point, that means the interviewer has everything they need, which means down here, the run status should be, what should the run status be? The run status should be, I don't actually know what the run status should be. Maybe pending requests or idle, maybe? No, it probably should be running is actually what it should be. And we're still going to send a response up here. Now, the thing we want to check down here is we basically want to make sure that new events contains... What do we want to make sure it contains? I think we want to make sure it contains the researcher, right? We want to make sure it contains an update from the researcher. So let's set a breakpoint here. And let's debug this really quick just to see where we are at. So theoretically, what should happen is in this test, theoretically, what should happen in this test is the user answers the question. It comes to the interviewer decides it has enough info, so now it passes to the researcher. So in my test, I just want to make sure that we have actually passed to the researcher. That's what I want to verify. And we can see, looks like I had an old breakpoint actually set in the researcher. So we can see it actually, it did enter the researcher. And so now we've hit OK. And now we have an error. We have an error because topic brief is null. And topic brief is null because, why is topic brief null? But found ended. So ended because we had an exception, but I think it should be running if we don't encounter that exception. So the reason why we got an exception is because in the researcher, this thing, the topic brief, is not populated. And the topic brief comes from the topic brief comes from the interviewer. So this should have a topic brief on it though. Yeah, this should have. Oh. So this is problematic. My approach to testing here is sort of problematic. And the reason it's problematic is because we're using the same mock agent for every one of our... Well, it's not really problematic. I just need to make sure that it returns the right thing. So the first time the mock agent is called, it should return the interview agent response. But the next time, the second time it's called, it needs to return I think it needs to return a research agent response. Yeah, why is that? So this shouldn't be null though. I don't know why this is null. All right, here we go. This is the peak of productivity as a developer. Debugging your tests. It's the greatest thing ever. I don't know how people write code without being able to write tests and then debug said tests. Alright, so we're in the researcher. I love this. This is researcher. Net sleep. Thanks for, or not sleep, I think maybe was your username. Thanks for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. Oh, it's this that's null. It's not the it's this that's causing the issue right here. Well, hold on, no. It says it's the actual topic brief. So why is the topic brief null? Okay, go back. We gotta do this again. We gotta do this one more time. I promise, I know what I'm doing. Okay, so this doesn't make sense, right? Because this right here is populated here. Yeah, you can see it's populated. This is all the topic brief info. This is null. So where does this get called from? ToString. Who's calling this? Rider? Is that Rider line 27? Is that what that is saying? Rider line 26. Excuse me. Yeah, I think this is throwing me off. I don't think that the var equals new string builder sb dot append append line, and we'll say topic brief dot toString. We'll say sb dot append line like that, and then we'll say sb dot append research brief dot toString. let's try that. Then we'll set a breakpoint here. We'll come back. We'll debug this. Hey, what's up, Crow Demise? Oh yeah, do you know Terry Davis, the guy that built his... I've heard of Terry Davis. I don't seem to be as fascinated by him as the rest of the internet. But I think it's a very tragic story from what I've read. It sounds like he had some struggles with... sounds like he was an incredibly brilliant human being, but had some struggles with mental illness, if I understand correctly. Yeah, it's the research brief that's throwing. It's not the topic brief. Okay. So that, having that all on one line was throwing me off. Yeah, so it was what I thought. So we have the interviewer response here. So what we need to do is we need to actually create a response for the underlying agent. So basically, just conceptually, I know you guys aren't like totally invested in this, but I'm just going to explain this because it helps me learn by explaining to others what I know. So the way Microsoft's agent framework works when you're dealing with their workflow API is their workflow API is basically an abstraction on top of the agents. So the workflow API in the agent framework basically is just it really has nothing to do with AI. It purely has to do with the ability to express your workflow in code, right? And the stuff your workflow can do, it doesn't have to do anything with AI. It could just be arbitrary code that runs, I don't know, it could pass numbers back and forth to each other. But the idea behind the workflow primarily consists of two things. You have your executors, which are the nodes in your workflow, and then you have the path. So these are the edges, right? The edges or the routes of your workflow. Now, the thing to remember is the executor sits on top of the agent, right? So if you're thinking about this being your executor, which is basically a class in your workflow that executes some code. It takes in a particular type of object and it responds to that object in some way, and you define all that. Now, inside your executors, right? Inside your executors can be an agent, right? And so that's why, like in my test, can be an agent. Doesn't have to be an agent, but it can be. You know, if you want this particular step in your workflow to talk to an agent. Thank you for the subscription, man. I missed your username. I apologize. If you have an agent inside the executor, now you can obviously this part of your workflow can be about talking to an LLM, and the agent can do whatever the agent does. So that's why if you look at my test at the very top of my setup logic, that's what I'm doing up here is I'm building out all the different parts of my workflow. So I have a writer, I have a researcher, and then each of those executors, right? So the researcher is an executor, writer is an executor. Each one of those executors takes in the agent or takes in an agent. So down here, I need to make sure that anytime one of the executors calls an agent, I'm mocking out the response from that agent essentially, because I don't actually want these tests to actually make API requests to LLMs. I just want to verify that the executors route things the way they should, and the workflow routes things the way it should. So here I need to create a new mock response. So I'll say researcher agent response equals test data factory dot researcher agent response dot generate with response. That's how you spell that. And then the only thing I think I need to do in here is I just need to provide it. So I don't need to set any properties here. but I do need to serialize it. So I need to say var, and this is where I probably can have a helper method for this test class that helps me do this, because I'm gonna have to do this many times over. Researcher agent response JSON equals JSON serializer. That. Then I'll make a new chat message. Var chat message, or no. Researcher chat message response. And we'll take in the chat role of assistant. And then we'll take in our JSON. Okay. And then we'll come down here to our setup function, right? And so instead of just setting up this once, we'll say setup sequence, which means the first time this is called, the first time the mock agent is called, its run async method is called, we'll return the interview or chat message. And then the next time it's called, we will return the researcher. So now if we debug this again, we'll keep that breakpoint there. If we debug this again, we shouldn't run into that issue. So if we come over here and we look at research brief, now research brief isn't null because we're actually passing mocked data to it. And this shouldn't throw anymore. Yep, which it doesn't. Now something else might throw, obviously. Let's see, this says, so this is throwing, so I don't know how to control this. So this is throwing because the workflow is trying to run basically to completion, right? So I'm not controlling each individual step individually. I don't know how to do that yet from my test code. So basically what's happening is I really just want to test this logic, right? But what's happening is that because this is successfully happening, the researcher is then forwarding to the writer, and I haven't mocked out anything to do with the writer. So in my test code, I need to somehow figure out how to halt it here. I don't want to advance any further in the workflow beyond the researcher, and I'm not sure how to do that. So let's see if we can figure that out. Also, I could use more coffee, but now we're kind of running short on time to get up from the chair, aren't we? Yeah, Terry, he was schizo, but he built his own programming language based off of C, if I remember correctly, but he built like his own OS from scratch. Pretty crazy stuff. It is crazy stuff. Yeah, one man building his own OS, that's wild, you know. And that's why I say obviously he was super, super intelligent, right? And so it just sucks that his story ended that way. So that's super tragic. Crow of Demise, you need to be a teacher? I don't know, man. I don't think I have the patience for it. Maybe if I could be like a professor, like if I could teach like college students, but I don't think I could teach high school, or I don't think I could teach any type of school that involves compulsory education. And I have a reason why, but I want to answer Electromatic's question. Do you stream at this time? Yeah, normally I do, Electromatic. I normally stream from about 4:15 in the morning to about 7 o'clock in the morning on weekdays. And then on weekends, Saturday and Sunday here, I usually will stream from like 4:15 in the morning to like 8 o'clock or 8:30. Yeah, like some type of explaining guy. I don't know if I'm good at explaining things, but I would like to teach people, or I'd like to at least talk to people about topics that they're interested in learning about, right? I think it's very hard to teach people who are being made to come and learn, right? And that's what high school is. That's what compulsory education is you have this room full of students who would rather probably be other places, like the majority of them. I know not all kids are like that, but the majority of kids in these classrooms would rather be doing something else other than listening to you learn. So that or listening to you teach. So that probably wouldn't be for me. But if you could teach people who are paying money or are, taking, they're investing time and energy because they want to actually be there, I think that would be fun to teach people like that in that sort of a setting. But not, I don't think I could. I mean, the work that teachers do in elementary school, middle school, high school, it's kind of amazing. Thanks, Steven, for Lo-Fi Generator. It's awesome for coding. It really is. It's a really great tool. I wish if I could get a hold of that Dylan Turner guy, I'd have him on the stream to talk about it immediately. Like if he could reach out at any point and be like, "Hey, I want to talk to your audience about the Lo-Fi Generator," I'd be like, "For sure, man. Come on, tell us how you built it. We'd love to know more." You break stuff down really well. I try to. I have to break it down because otherwise I won't be able to understand it. You know what I mean? And if I can't, selfishly, I want to understand. So if I can't break it down well enough or explain it well enough, then it means I need to spend more time learning, right? Yeah, professor, you could get pretty hands-on stuff, organizing GitHub repos and yeah. My favorite teacher, actually, I've never actually taken a class from him. Well, I've taken a class from him virtually, but I've never actually taken a class from him in real life. But he's my favorite teacher. Is the gentleman who teaches or is in charge of CS50, David Malin. David Malin. This is my favorite. He's my favorite teacher that I've ever experienced learning from. And I've not done it in person, right? So I've only taken CS50 through a YouTube channel. But the way he teaches, like, he has this really great way of like bringing a lot of energy to the stuff he teaches, which keeps you really engaged. But he also does a really good job of like making things understandable and not being overwhelmed, right? So like he keeps this really good pace and this really good energy, but doesn't like leave you behind in the dust, which I've had teachers who were like really high energy, really engaging, but they moved so fast through topics and concepts that like you're still trying to figure out what the last thing they said was, and they've already moved on like 10 more sentences. But that's by far, if all my teachers could have been like David Malin, I probably would be smarter. There I go, blaming my teachers. Artwork Studios back from school, had a horrible day. Ah, man, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry. But I mean, the horrible days make the good days even better, right? Can't have the highs without the lows. So I'm sorry your day was tough, man, but there'll be another one. The sun will set today and the sun will rise tomorrow. So you can always hold on to that. Harry Empire. Yo, what's up, Harry Empire? How are you doing? I love your profile picture. I didn't realize the other day that's actually HE. Did you make that yourself? I love the artwork. The font is cool. Yeah, the font's cool. It's almost like a marker, like a chalkboard type font. Crow of Demise. From what I understand, school is there to teach you how to learn, I think. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be. Some teachers, I think, I didn't experience this so much in high school, like in my lower education, but in college, I think some teachers, some professors think they're there to keep people out. Like, I think some professors think their goal is to make classes and subjects so difficult for people to succeed at, as some sort of way to like gatekeep the degree or the knowledge, right? To almost like they feel like their goal is to try to make acquiring the knowledge or acquiring the credential scarce, instead of their job being to help students succeed. Their job is to like limit the availability of this thing, which is unfortunate. Like, professors and teachers should not be obstacles for students. They should be allies. My math went from an A to a C. I failed an important subject that will deeply impact my grade. Then I was sad, but then I put on a smile. Maybe this day will get better. No. After lunch, starting the class, entire class will punish. Oh man, that sucks, dude. That is a rough day, man. I'm sorry. We all have rough days. This is part of life, man. This is part of life. You win some, you lose some. You know, you take your lumps, and honestly, I tell my sons this, like, it's not about what happens to you, but how you react to it. That's the only thing you can control, is how you respond to adversity, and that's what matters. Dang, getting sabotaged by people you're paying is wild. Yeah, it really is. I had a physics professor. His name was Dr. Chelf. I wonder if he's still alive. He may not be still alive. Dr. Roger Chelf, I think was his. Yeah, this guy. He was the faculty senate president at the college I went to. See if I can find a picture of him. Well, this is him, but this is 09. This would have been 3 years before I was at Southern. See if I can find a better picture of him. He doesn't have a very high score, as you can see on Rate My Professor. Roger Chelf Joplin. Oh, did he pass away? I don't want to speak poorly of him if he passed away. Yeah, he may have passed. I don't know if he did or not. Yeah, I can't remember honestly. But anyways, he was my physics professor. He was my physics 1 professor, and he was obviously very smart, well experienced. He'd been a professor for like 30, 40 years. But his class was so difficult, and it was so difficult to get help from him with the subject. I passed, but like I think I got maybe a B or something, but it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare of a semester getting through that. Let's see, bro, you missed one of my chat. Did I? Bro, is it necessary to... Oh, sorry, I did, Harry. I apologize. I try to keep up with as many of the chats as I can, but sometimes I miss them. Is it necessary to purchase a paid course to become good or pro at coding? Or just YouTube lectures and websites you suggested me the other day are more than enough? I don't think it's necessary for you to pay to become a pro. I think if you're a pro, you are going to inevitably start to pay for education. Like I spend money on books and conferences and courses because you're going to want to get better, right? It's kind of like a plumber buying new tools, right? Or a builder buying new, contractor buying new equipment, right? It's like you're investing in the tools and the skills that you use to do your trade. But if you're just getting started, I don't think that's necessary. Obviously, if you're a pro, then you're making money from it, so then you can take that money and invest it, and hopefully that means you'll earn more money. But I don't think it's necessary. It could be helpful, but I think if you follow free code camp, I mean, there are so many people who have gotten jobs from following free code camp's curriculum. Like you can follow free code camp's curriculum and land a job. You know, so it literally just, I think a lot of it comes down to your willingness to be persistent and, let's see, your willingness to be persistent and enthusiastic in your job search, because a lot of people are going to say no, and you just need one person to say yes. A lot of job searching is like sales. I don't know if any of you guys have ever worked in sales. So I had a personal training business for three years. So I basically did everything. Like, I was the person doing the personal training, but I was also the person marketing the business and selling new clients and doing introductory sessions, all that kind of stuff. And so in sales, there's this idea of a funnel. I guess I can probably draw this, but there's this idea of a funnel, right? And so at the top of your funnel is everybody that's like has awareness of the product and the service you offer, right? Then there's people who will actually take you up on some offer, right? So in personal training, these would be like people that knew about my gym. Like, this is like general awareness. People are aware of you, right? So this is like, you've done some marketing, you posted on social media. In job searching, this would be like, you're posting on LinkedIn, you're creating content on YouTube, you're actively building open source projects, right? You're doing things to like get your name amongst people. You're going to networking events, you're going to meetups, right? Like, you're trying to make others aware of you and what they know about you. And then you have people who will actually take you up on some offer, right? So in job searching, this would be like people who actually want to interview you, right? They'll actually say, hey, yeah, come on down. Well, we'd love to interview you. Then you have people who will actually make you an offer. They're like, hey, okay, cool. You want to work for us? Awesome. Here, you can work for us, right? Now, the ratio, this funnel that I have here is not proportional, right? This is the funnel is probably the funnel probably looks more like this when you're job searching. Probably looks like more like this. It's more like a triangle. So the number of offers you get is really, really tiny. Very small number of offers, which means you have to cast a very wide net, right? You need to be talking to a lot of people. You need to be applying to a lot of jobs. You need to be trying to have a lot of interviews, because only a very tiny, small percentage are going to translate to an offer. And that the narrowness of the funnel is always exacerbated by the market conditions. And as we all know, right, market conditions are kind of a pain in the ass right now for engineers with the AI craze that's happening, which means the only response you can really have here is to make that top of the funnel wider, more job applications, more meetups, more introductions, more opportunities, more at bats. That's what you're trying to get. And so I think a lot of times people get discouraged because they spend a lot of the time at the top of the funnel getting rejected or no showed, no called, no response. And that discourages them, so then they stop trying. And so it's just like in sales. It's just like trying to get customers for your business. You get the door slammed in your face half a dozen times, and all of a sudden you don't really want to go out and get the door slammed in your face. So job hunting is very much the same way. I love how he explains everything. Thanks a lot, dude. Oh, I just try to explain it based on my own experience. It's been I know that's probably some of the stuff I say. Not everybody is like, yeah, that's how it went for me. But I just try to, like, I'm a random guy in Kansas streaming from my basement, and so I just try to share with you my approach to life and my experiences in life, and hopefully they translate. Hopefully they're somewhat helpful. Let's see. I'm 13. Yeah. You've got lots of time, man. I mean, you got lots of time ahead of you, and you've got lots more good days ahead of you, and lots more bad days ahead of you. That's just life, you know. And so do I. I mean, hopefully, knock on wood. I'm 32, so hopefully at least get another 30 years out of my body and my mind, hopefully. Harry Empire, making a social media presence give me advantage if I document my journey on social media like Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Oh yeah, for sure. I think that definitely helps you, but you have to remember that you also have to keep in mind that there isn't always going to be good overlap, right? So, like, for example, people who are maybe watching my stream right now that may be aware of me, and they're like, hey, I know Steven, and I know Steven writes code, and I know he likes code, and Steven seems like a relatively normal, not so weird dude, right? So it is helping the top of your funnel because you're gaining awareness with more human beings. But the thing you have to remember is, what's the overlap between let's see, these people would be people who can give you a job, right? So that's one group in this scenario. There's people who can give you a job, right? And then there's people who might follow you on social media. Or let's just say online presence. People who follow you online, right? So the thing you have to remember here is these people probably don't overlap identically, right? So every person who follows you online, if you spend time building a channel or a blog or anything, LinkedIn following, these don't overlap 100%, right? And so you can't spend all your time doing this activity, right? You can't spend all your time doing this activity and hope it translates to a bunch of people who can give you a job, right? So this helps. It's great. It's great if people know about you. You have a presence. You have some awareness of who you are and what you do. But you're going to have to spend time finding these people. These are the people you want to reach, right? So this is why you still have to cold apply to jobs, go to meetups, pick up the phone, follow up on applications, go to the business, walk in the door, talk to the receptionist. Hey, I submitted an application 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard back. I was wondering if I could talk to somebody about the role. Right? This is where you it's not one or the other, it's both. Right? And I think a lot of people want to be able to just do one. And preferably the easier one, and preferably the one that makes them less uncomfortable. So you have to be willing to have honesty, right, about the fact that, like, great, I have a YouTube channel, but not all the people who want to hire developers spend their time watching YouTube, you know, or reading a blog or spending time on LinkedIn. What are you doing? I'm just joined. I'm new. So what we're doing is we're trying to build an application that helps me write blog posts. So it's basically like, you kind of think of it like my personal ghostwriter. Ghost writer, not ghost writer. Writer, like I write. And we're doing that primarily so that we can learn how to use the agent framework, which is a new library that Microsoft released 2 or 3 weeks ago now. So we've pretty much built it. We have the diagram you see, we have all of this wired up. So what I'm doing in my code at the moment is I'm spending time writing some unit and integration tests just to verify that things work the way they do, because every time I make a change, I don't want to have to test this manually every time. So I'm trying to sit down and write some actual good integration and unit tests. so I can verify that this is all wired up correctly. And then the other thing I'll need to do at some point, because this is an LLM system, is I'm going to need to spend some time doing some evaluations, right? So I'll need to also write some evaluations for each of my agents just to make sure that my prompt is somewhat reasonable, right? That the responses that my prompts are eliciting from my agent are somewhat useful. Also, I should say, a lot of this work is going to probably end up happening off stream, because there's no way I'm going to get this completely done by the end of the stream tomorrow. And on November 1st, we're going to switch over to Go full time. So that today we'll work on this, and we're pretty much done for the day almost. And then tomorrow we'll work on this, and then on the 1st of November, when I show up on stream, we're going to figure out how to learn Go. Goth the Mog 229, thanks for subscribing. So that's what we're doing, man. So you're kind of coming, you're kind of not sleep, you're kind of coming in like 3 weeks into a project sort of thing. And we're sort of, and then we're also kind of like moving on from that project. You're not making the stream negative, Artwork Studios. Sometimes we just have shitty days, man. Unfortunately. You'll get to go to bed and do it all again tomorrow. Brilliant, man. No one explained me better than this my whole high school and college. Oh. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad I could at least pass along the things that I've encountered in life. Hey, what's up, Pablo? How are you? Good to see you. Pablo, for people that don't know, Pablo's been around hanging out in my streams for a long time, since it was like just 10 of us here every day, or 5 of us here every day, it seemed like. But then I moved my stream time on Pablo. So now Pablo can only come sometimes. But it's always nice when we see you, man. I'm doing well. Yeah, life's good. I'm healthy. Family's healthy. Just streaming. We got Halloween tomorrow. So, yeah, it's a good time of year, man. Weather's changing. It's finally getting colder. It's a good time. And I hope you're doing well, Pablo. Right back at you. I hope you're doing well. Harry, are you married? Sorry to be personal. Just yeah, I'm married. Yeah, I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2, happily married for 17 years now. No, I guess I've been married for 10 years, but I've been with my wife for 17 years. So I met my wife when I was 15, and I'm 32 now. So I've been with my wife longer than I was ever without her at this point. Steven's wife is amazing as far as we know. Yeah, she is amazing. She puts up with me. So she is amazing. What is Halloween like? How do you celebrate? So Halloween in the United States, or at least where I've lived, is nothing like, it's nothing particular like special. Like mostly what people do is they dress up, right? Mostly little kids, like I'd say like 12 and under, 13 and under. I mean, older people dress up to go to parties and stuff, but mostly it's for the little kids. So little kids pick a costume, they dress up, and then at night everyone goes around to each other's houses and they ring the doorbell and then they give candy. So that's what they call trick-or-treating. I'm guessing some people here are familiar with it, but if you're not familiar with it, that's basically how the United States celebrates Halloween. Kids dress up. Adults will typically have like themed holiday parties where they have costume parties, and then at night parents will take their kids out to the neighborhoods, walk around, knock on doors, and get free candy, which is what the kids love, is the free candy. I'll try to see November streams just so that we can learn some Go. Oh yeah, for sure. I would love to have I'm hoping that there's some people that see that I'm writing Go that already know Go, and that they drop by the stream so they can help accelerate my learnings, because there's going to be a lot of Steven don't know how to do it. So there's going to be a lot of asking Gemini, a lot of Stack Overflowing, a lot of Googling. But it'll be fun because we'll be learning. I mean, that's the most fun you can have, I feel like, is when you're learning new stuff. What's your thoughts on marriage, or should we spend our life alone? Well, the way I live my life hopefully answers that question. I think um, well, I guess my take is a little bit more subtle. I don't necessarily think people need to get married. If you don't want to get married, like marriage is a whole separate thing, right? It has like economic, legal consequences based on where you live, and also has some religious connotations. So like take marriage take the marriage word away and just say, should you spend your life alone or should you build your life with a partner? And in my experience, building a life with a partner is far more rewarding. And I think if you're lucky enough to find someone to build a life with, that's what you should do. Finding that person is obviously the hard part, right? Finding somebody you can trust and that you love and that you choose every day over and over and who you actually do want to build a life with is the difficult part. I don't think you should look at it from a standpoint of like, is this the person I want to get married to? It's more of, is this the person I want to build a life with? Similar to how like you pick a business partner. Is this the person you want to build a business with? Can you trust this person? When the shit hits the fan, is this person going to be there, or are they going to duck and run for the hills, right? Like that's that, in my opinion, that's how you should be thinking about spending your life with somebody. I always want to trick or treat, but that's not a thing here. I wish I could go. Yeah, trick or treating's fun. I mean, free candy's a blast, right? Like who doesn't want free candy? Mohammed, what is special about Go? There's nothing. I don't think there's anything particularly special about it. Like I'm not saying C sharp's more special than Go or Go's more special than C sharp. It's just a different language, and so uh, I've done admin of code the last 2 years, and so for those who aren't familiar, admin of code is basically like a kind of elite code style challenge, but it's like holiday Christmassy themed. Um, but essentially, they give you a puzzle every day for 24 days, and it used to be that it was 24 puzzles, and each puzzle had two parts. So you really were solving 48 problems in 24 days. This year they're doing 12 puzzles, and each puzzle will have two parts. So you'll only solve essentially 24 problems. But I think it makes way more sense because when they did do the 24 days with two parts, sometimes the second part would really fuck you up, and so you might spend like a couple hours on the first part, and then they hit you with the second part, and that takes you another couple hours. So from a time investment and commitment, it was a lot. So I think it's smart that they went down to 12, 12 puzzles. So you could technically do, day one, part one, the first day, then day one, part two, the second day, without having to necessarily fall behind. I think this will be much more manageable for me. But that's why I want to learn Go, is just to do this with something other than C sharp, right? I think it's always good to try to expand your knowledge, expand your learning. Doesn't mean I'll convert to writing everything in Go, right? But it'll just kind of be like Python, right? It's a language I know how to use. I have familiarity with it. I can speak to it, and learning's fun. Pablo, getting married is a paper. Finding the partner you want to sign the contract with is the hard part. Yes, Pablo. And the secondary thing is the most important, right? It's making sure it's the right person. That's the hard part. Someone you trust. And I don't necessarily believe that there's one true love for all of us out there. I think a lot of it has to do with choice, that you have to pick somebody and you have to choose them over and over again. Um, but yeah, that's definitely the most important part. Admin of code is so cool. Admin of code is very cool, and I hope the guy who does it doesn't ever get sick of doing it. And I hope if he gets sick of doing it, he tries to find somebody to take it over, because it's a lot of fun. Yeah, they did reduce the amount too, Pablo. They cut it down. They cut it in half essentially. But I don't know. I always would fall behind. So like I think last year I made it to the 16th day. Let me log in here real quick. Let's see, 20 events. There we go. See, 2023, I made it to part 1 on the 15th day, and I think 2024, but I think I finished the 15th day on like the 17th day of Advent or something like that. And then on the 2024 year, I made it to the first part of the 17th day, but again, I think I was behind a couple days. So I feel like maybe cutting down on the number of problems will help it be more manageable for people to participate, because some of the problems I mean, maybe it's a skill issue. Some of the problems took me a little bit of time, right? So it's a kind of a time commitment to commit to solving all of them. How can someone be so mature? I got lots of clarity finding answers of your problems by your own. I think that would be better because situations for everyone is very different. Yes. Yeah, it is. And that's always why it's hard for me to give advice when people ask me stuff, because I don't ever feel like I have enough context about what's going on in your life and your experience and your current situation, and you kind of have to evaluate everything through that context, right? What's good advice for one person in one place in time is bad advice for another. So it's hard to generalize. It also happened that day 10 is a killer, and then you didn't even attempt the following days, and sometimes they were easier. Yeah, day 10, yeah. There's always a day in there where they crush you, right? Like they kind of get you believing like, yeah, I've got a good handle on this. And then they come along and they're like, no, you're terrible. Try again. You're not a developer. What's really crazy is actually watching the leaderboards, because the leaderboards is insane. Like you'll have people, there'll be people who finished. There'll be people who finish like within, like the first problem. There'll be people who are finished like within 30 minutes or 10 minutes. They'll already have the first problem done. It's wild. People like seriously compete at this stuff. And I'm not trying to compete at the time. I just wanna drink coffee and write some code and solve a problem. I'm a cozy advent of coder. Crow of demise: live, laugh, love, fart. Well, that's a motto. That's one way to live your life. All right, guys, it's 7:15. I started a little late, so I went a little later, but I gotta hop off and run upstairs and go say good morning to the family, go refill my coffee cup, take a shower, all the. I still have a day job. I'm like all of you. Got to get up and there's no full-time streamer over here. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It sounds like we had quite a few people who were newer to the channel. I had a couple people who joined the Discord, I think. As far as some housekeeping things before I go, for those of you who are here, I still can't believe there's 40 some people here, 35 people here now. Some housekeeping things. So first and foremost, if you want to interact with us outside of stream, the best place to find us is discord.stephenfreeborn.com. Chat, that we have some members of chat that hang out in there. I hang out in there, so if you can't find me live, you can find me there. As far as a stream schedule goes, if you're interested in a schedule, I try to go live about 4:15 each morning, so that's 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then I try to stream till about 7 o'clock during the week, or 8 o'clock or so on the weekends, basically whenever my family wakes up and starts to get around for the day on the weekends. What else? I think that's it. Obviously, my channel does have a membership. If you want to become a member, it's like 99 cents. There's a members-only Discord if you'd like to join that. I mean, it's much more about just showing support for the channel than anything else. So if you want to become a member, that's available to you. No pressure, though. I mean, again, I have a day job. I'm not making a living from YouTube. But if you want to join, it's there. What else? Is that it? I think that's all the housekeeping things. I don't think I have anything else. So with that, I will say to the 39 people who are here, Thank you very much for hanging out with me, keeping me company. The stream is way more interesting and way more fun because you guys are here and ask questions and make fun of me and keep me engaged. So I really appreciate you guys spending time. Let's see. We've got who we got here. Hans the Dude was fun. Have a great day. See you, Hans the Dude. Appreciate you hanging out, and I appreciate you subscribing. Very kind. Pablo, thank you for making time, man. I know it's early, so I appreciate you getting here. And no pressure on the Go streams. If you get here, great. If you don't, no worries. We'll see you, I'm sure. Crow of Demise, awesome dude. Keep up the good work. Yeah, appreciate it, man. I'm having a lot of fun doing the content creation right now, so I'm gonna try to stick with it the best I can. Artwork Studios, I hope your day gets better, man. I'm sorry today was a shit one, but remember the sun will set and the sun will rise, and you get to reset and do it all over again. So stay positive. Mohammed, see you, Mohammed. Appreciate you being here, man. Dude Davis, sorry, man. You got here and I'm ditching out on you. I apologize, but we were working on Casper. We were working on my LLM powered ghostwriter app thing, so that's what we were doing today. But sorry, I gotta run. But good to have you here. So Pablo, see you. Artwork Studio, see you. Crow of Demise, see you. Anybody else who's here, I hope you have a great rest of your day. If it's Thursday for you, kill it. If it's Friday for you, I hope it's even better. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, chat. Bye. Bye, guys.